reasons you don't set boundaries and how to start. You've gotten roped into staying late at work. Again. Or you've committed to something that you didn't want to but felt you had to. Now you're beating yourself up because you know you should have better boundaries, but you don't seem to understand how to form them. What do? First, you need to realize that having problems setting boundaries is normal. Actually, we have a lot of reasons why we don't like setting boundaries. The number one reason we don't do anything is generally fear. When you don't know what the outcome is going to be when you first set that boundary, it's bound to be terrifying. Another reason, it would be selfish. After all, why should your needs come before anyone else's? Taking care of yourself is unusual. This point is an extension of the last one. Not only is self-care selfish, but it would take time and resources from caring for others. Forgetting, of course, that we can't take care of anyone if we don't take care of ourselves first. Another reason is thinking someone's going to get mad at you, which of course will lead to conflict and maybe even a confrontation. You might find yourself thinking that setting a boundary in these situations is just not worth it. Or maybe, doing it the other way is a habit. It might be that you're used to being asked to stay late at work, every day. Now it's a habit to stay. The problem is, habits are hard to break, which means setting that boundary doesn't just involve putting your foot down, but changing an entire way of thinking. And there's a price to pay for saying no. If other people trample over your needs to get their own needs met, then when you do say no, you know there's going to be a negative repercussion. And who needs that kind of commotion in your life? So, hearing all that, you might think it's not all that important anyway. Is it? That has more to do with self-esteem than anything. And yes, your boundaries are just that important. So how do you go about setting boundaries when that's unusual for you? Start by asking for what you want, and be specific. Be open to compromise. Have an exit strategy if they say, no. What will you accept? Be ready emotionally for a negative response. Not everything will be a yes. And don't take rejection personally. Boundaries don't have to be terrifying. Understanding why you don't set them is the first step toward establishing positive change. When you use what you know to set solid boundaries for yourself, you will discover peace and happiness that you never knew was even possible. Imagine an invisible fence set around yourself, with a single gate that is shut and locked, with only you in possession of the key. How does that make you feel? When we have good personal boundaries, then we've set a space around us that we control. We tell those around us they can go only so far, and no further. Not that we're alone, but it's up to us to open the gate, and we get to decide who comes in. The problem is, the world has a way of pushing against that fence. There will always be people who want more of your time, more of your energy, more of you. Thankfully, there are things you can do to guard those boundaries and keep them strong. Number 1. Identify your limits. It's impossible to guard what you haven't even defined. The trick here is to define those limits clearly and succinctly. For example, you might want to protect some time with your family. But a boundary too vague is impossible to protect. But by clarifying the goal down to, Saturdays are family time, then you know what you're protecting, time with your family. So, with things that do come up on Saturday which do not involve the family, it's suddenly not so difficult to say no. Number 2. Be straightforward. Never let someone push your boundaries without your permission. And when it does happen, take direct and clear action immediately. Anytime your boundaries are threatened, it's time to open a dialogue with the violator. That gives you the opportunity to verbally reset the boundary in a way that makes it clear to the other person that the boundary is there. Number 3. Pay attention to your feelings. If you're feeling like someone is violating your boundaries, ask yourself why. Go with your gut instinct here as you analyze your emotions. It's very likely that what you're sensing is a boundary violation that you need to address. Number 4. Speak up. When you feel like your boundaries are being violated, you need to say something. After all, the best guard challenges all intruders. Being assertive now will save you a lot of heartache and problems down the road later. Number 5. Remind yourself that you have a right to set boundaries. Sometimes our boundaries have grown weak because we don't feel like we have a right to set them in the first place. Permitting yourself to set the boundary will immediately strengthen it again. Guarding your boundaries is an important part of living a life that's not only healthy and happy but meaningful. Self-confident, strong people have solid boundaries that they protect. Protecting your boundaries is probably one of the most effective tools you have toward realizing a happy and productive life. Now that you know why boundaries are important, and now to set them, what boundaries are you setting for yourself today? Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.